I'm John Skinner, and this supports my book Fishing for Summer Flounder, Fluke Jigging from Shore, Boat, and Kayak, and you can learn more about the book at flounderbook.com. Okay, I learned a lot from this one. I've published a couple short clips on this. This is shot at Montauk Point, the Cartwright grounds, very popular grounds for fluke fishing, sea bass, and so forth. 90 feet, here we are going to the bottom. I mean, the first thing is look straight up, and you can see the sun very bright, getting dimmer and dimmer, and this is a view that, geez, we wouldn't normally get to see. How do things look all the way down there? Look at that big fluke, and this is a good one because I'm a little bit off the bottom. That's a big one. I mean, that's why we're fishing Cartwright grounds, is for larger fluke, and he was all the way down there. Of course, we got all these other fish around, and watching this video, I don't understand how it is that we managed to catch fluke in this place, because there are so many other fish between the porgies and the sea bass. So another thing to notice is the color. I mean, everything being green, and we've seen this on other underwater videos that I've posted, but those were much shallower. So the reason this happens is because colors like red, orange are longer wavelength, and the water absorbs those wavelengths faster, and the shorter wavelengths like green will penetrate the water better. So there's a lot of green down there. So this is interesting because that offering, you may have seen the colors clearly as I first had it in the water on the way down. I've got a chartreuse otter tail on there because I wanted to put something on that they're not going to just rip right off. It's another fluke we just went right over. It's a white Jigging World fluke candy teaser, and I've got a piece of squid on there, and so we do have some fluorescent green on there, and it's hard to tell that. Actually, the fluorescent green, when I've seen different angles on it, it looks white, but who knows what the fish see. Something else I enjoy about watching this video is the bottom structure. We're jigging over this. We see the fish finder. We know it's irregular. We know it's not a clean flat bottom, but as we go through this, we're going to see it's a nasty bottom in some places, and we do lose some bucktail rigs when we jig here. And from watching this video, I'm surprised we don't lose a lot more than we lose. So I'm posting like 22 minutes of this video. I've watched hours of it, and something that just dawned on me is I have not seen even one crab on this bottom, and to me that's amazing. If I was in Long Island Sound, I would see them frequently, so it's surprising. I don't quite understand why there's no crabs, although maybe they'd get eaten. I don't know what the story is with that. Okay, in this trip, we're fluke fishing. There's 3 of us up in the boat, and we're jigging. And at one point there, off to the side, you saw a bucktail jigging rig briefly. What's interesting to me is we had a spectacular trip, and that trip is posted on my YouTube channel. It's called something like Hot Ocean Fluking or something like that. And it was a great trip, and I see very few fluke on this video. And I think part of that could be caused by the fact that there are 2 and 3 bucktail rigs off to the left bouncing, and I've seen on other underwater video how that bucktail jigging will just attract the fish, and I have a feeling, look at that sea bass, I have a feeling that the fluke are getting drawn to the bucktail rig, and that's why we're not seeing them, because we caught a lot of fluke, and it's like the only explanation I can come up with for not seeing them on the video. I mean, they're certainly not buried underneath these rocks, so they're here. I'm not picking up too many on the video, but my God, look at all these porgies and sea bass. How do we catch any fluke from among these things? Okay, in this Jigging World fluke candy teaser has I've put a plastic sleeve over the hook. I don't want to be hooking these fish. I'm just trying to attract them to get them on the video, and that's working out great. So you saw that sea bass grab that thing and tried to eat it. Well, that's fine, but they're not going to get hooked. So that explains why you're not seeing hookups on this thing. So I believe I'm going to get 12 species of fish, or if you want to count the squid, it's 12. I do have a brief encounter with a squid, but I have got a bonito, I've got mackerel, and of course the porgies, the sea bass, bergall, blackfish, fluke, skate, dogfish, shark, sea robin. You know, maybe it's more than 12, but we're going to see a lot of different kinds of fish on this. And I'm not seeing the mackerel like right near the bottom, but when the rig got a little bit higher up, then I was seeing the mackerel. And the one bonito, which I was very surprised to catch on video, that happened when I was cranking the rig up to the boat, and it was way up in the water column. And I had to slow the video down to see exactly what it was and get a still shot of it to make sure, but that was a surprise. All right, so clearly to catch the fluke, you got to get around these, what I'm calling interference fish. It's just all these other things. And if you've been watching my videos, you've seen the thing I've been doing is, I'm a big fan of gulp. Geez, if you put a strip of squid or something on there, they just hammer the squid. The gulp holds up a little better. The gulp's not going to hold up to all these guys. They're going to rip the tails off. So what I've been doing is, leaving a stub of the gulp on, and then putting an otter tail, the rippled otter tail, 6-inch. So we've got the scent of the gulp, got this nice flutter from the otter tail, and even these fish are not going to rip the otter tail off in most circumstances. So that's what's been working for us to deal with all these guys while we're trying to pull the fluke out. And I had one other strange, interesting observation while trying to do this. I was basically putting anything on this fluke candy teaser. First I put on a couple of squid heads, and they got pulled off, and I was never sure, if you're down on like a 20-minute drift, I wasn't sure at what point I was losing those things, and I was afraid they were getting ripped off fast. So I started putting some other things on there as well. One of the things I put on was, on a squid, you've got that like triangular shaped fin. Boy, they really didn't eat that. It was very strange. That stayed on for several drifts, and then watching hours of this video, there were times where clearly, there was a piece of squid on there, and these fish would like go up to it and just not eat it. It's making me think twice. I don't use squid very much for anything anymore, but yeah, the triangular fin thing just stayed on drift after drift, and they were not eating it. And another thing I came away with from watching this, the sea bass I found to be less aggressive than I expected. I just always pictured they just eat everything. And the porgies were more so. There's times you'll see that sea bass will have this thing in his mouth, and the porgies are just trying to pull it away from them. I would not want to fight for my dinner with a porgy because these things are vicious. Okay, the narration will be pretty sparse from this point on. Just enjoy the fish, and I'll jump in at a few points when I see some things that I think are worth noting. Enjoy. Okay, I mentioned the porgies being aggressive. Wait till you see what this fluke does. It's great. That's almost certainly a fluke hit to the camera. Watch the middle bottom of the screen. We're going to go right over a fluke just laying there. Hard to see him. There he is. Okay, here come the mackerel. Okay, I'm going to pull up the rig. As we go through the water column, we're going to encounter the bonito, and I'll take a still shot to freeze it. Dogfish shark, lower right-hand corner. So those fish made a big mess of the rig. I'm going to need a little help to straighten it out. So this is a naked fluke handy teaser, no bait on it. But boy, if you can get a little jigging action on it, the fish are right after it. The problem is I can't jig with the camera, so yeah, once it levels off, then they don't show as much interest.